So at this point, what would give Microsoft some kind of edge, some kind of hook to get into people's homes with a new Xbox? And I think we might have an idea of what their plan is. Now, you might just think from the outside looking in, oh, copying Nintendo, that probably won't work. But let's also look at the original Kinect, right? Like, I know people make fun of it or whatever, but it was like the fastest selling peripheral ever, and it sold, the original one for 360 sold, what was it, like 30 million units or something. I think it was like the hardcore that weren't really into it, but forcing it on people, I think, was never going to work. But you could have actually had a situation with the Xbox One where, just as a standalone peripheral, you could have had, probably drawn in a lot more casuals and things like that. But anyway, it's easier said than done. But what I want to talk about right here is something that just came out yesterday. So Xbox is apparently prototyping native Xbox handheld units. Now, these are supposedly dockable, sort of like the Switch. And I'm going to get into what I think personally, but I first want to talk about what's going on here. Jez Gordon of the Xbox 2 podcast claimed that Xbox is working on a new native Xbox handheld. He said, and I quote, "I know that they've got handheld prototypes right now." He clarified that there are new prototypes and not the old prototypes often referred to. As pointed out in the show as well, prototypes don't necessarily mean that the new products are coming to market, but Xbox pursuing a handheld isn't really that surprising. He also said, no, not a cloud handheld, a fully native Xbox handheld, which I think is the most important part, because let's just be honest, right? Like, I'm sure Microsoft had like grand illusions of cloud. Everybody has a phone, and so all those phones could potentially be an Xbox, right? Or play Xbox games. But the problem is, first of all, when people are out and about, you have these situations where clearly the internet has not kept up with that. And also, you have to look at the type of games that people play on their phones, right? People play specific, like I have kids, they play specific games on a phone. It's usually some little short game, you know what I'm saying? Balloon TD6, like that's one, right? You guys don't know what that is. You guys can check that out. It's it's like a this little phone game that you can play these little levels, and it takes a couple minutes to do a level or whatever. That's what people like. Like, I don't think people really want to go on their phones and stream. And I know what you're going to say. Well, don't they play Call of Duty or Fortnite online? Yeah, they do those, but those are native versions of games. They're not cloud streaming, right? And those have been tailored to the phones as well. So, I mean, in my opinion, people don't want to play, like a Resident Evil on a phone. I just don't think they want to do that. That's not an experience that's really built for. I think that, developers that are developing big AAA games are mostly developing them for like a big experience. But I also think that if you have a dockable experience, that people would not mind taking them with them. Look at the Switch, right? That thing is probably going to be the best all-selling console in the history, and I think that's great. But imagine, Xbox doing that. I think there's going to be a couple things hinging on whether or not that could be a success. The Nintendo Switch has obviously sold over 140 million units, or 100, whatever it is, since its launch. And now with like the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, and even the PlayStation Portal coming to market, Xbox making its move into the handheld market makes a lot of sense. In fact, some could even argue that companies tapping into the handheld market are one of the only avenues for hardware growth due to the stagnation of console sales. So it's unclear on when Xbox would announce new Xbox handheld, but various rumors have suggested that the console's next-gen consoles could be a dockable handheld similar to the Switch. And earlier in the year, Phil Spencer even teased that Xbox's next-gen console will be unique and powerful. So on the official Xbox podcast, Sarah Bond, who is the newly appointed Xbox president, broke down what's next for Xbox, saying we've got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're really going to share this holiday. We're also invested in the next generation roadmap. What we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you've ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building. So again, a lot of people are probably going to be talking about this, and I think that it's one of those things where, with good reason. Now, here's the thing, here's the crutch, in my opinion, right? So you could have a potential Xbox thing, which I think would be great. I think pricing would be important. I think you can't top $399 as the price point, right? Like that's just for me anyway. Like if they go about a next gen thing, I think they've got to do something like a $399 dockable handheld, and then you also can go $499 or even $599 in my opinion with a more standard console, right? I think you can do both those things, and this thing has to be able to play native Game Pass. I mean, I think that would be huge, right? Like that to me is a way to attract players, and I'm not lying, I'm not being facetious or overhyping something. I just honestly 100% that is a good way to draw in people and get them excited about Xbox being able to play, Game Pass. You have to wonder, like, are they going to allow like Wi-Fi? I mean, obviously Wi-Fi, but are they going to have like some kind of wireless carrier that you can opt to get? I think that would be kind of an interesting thing, because for multiplayer, not for cloud or anything like that, but maybe for multiplayer, I think that could be kind of big. There's various different things that they could do here, but I think all in all, like what we're seeing is a pretty good kind of interesting situation where Microsoft can sort of have an edge over the competition for a change, and even though I think Sony, obviously they're never gonna beat Sony in a straight up like console thing or whatever, but you could find new places and new people with a handheld hybrid. I think that would be a smart choice to do, because you do have Game Pass, which is a very good value, and if people could take their entire libraries, I mean, that would be very interesting to me. Like, I'm not a huge handheld person. I mean, I've owned various handhelds throughout my life, like a Vita, even PSP, 3DS, 2DS, Game Boy Advance, regular Game Boy, but it's just one of those things where you don't get that full experience. But if you can get a full experience, get my achievements, and that's, I think, the main difference between something like a ROG Ally that's it's basically a PC, or a Steam Deck, which is basically a PC, is something native Xbox. Yeah, that would be a cool thing, and it would probably get me on board for their next hardware, and that's even with the stuff that they've been doing, like putting some of their stuff on, PlayStation and stuff like that, because I think it'd be cool to be able to kind of maybe chill and do something different on the handheld or whatever while people are using the TV. Like, I can understand that aspect of it. I always could. So I think that would be cool. I'm going to link this article. You guys can check it out. Where do you guys stand on this, though? I could very much use some input. Let me know some opinions. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Crap Gamer. This has been Crap Gamer Reviews. If you enjoy the content, please leave a like. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.